and abduction of Ugandans after the January elections 2026. It's no more business by the BBC to remain silent while Ugandans are being murdered by the brutal dictator. The BBC, you are the founders of this brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. Right. We have never seen the BBC reporting any human rights abuses in Uganda apart from the wildlife telling us lies how the elephant in Uganda he has given to twins and triplets. That's impossible. We've never seen a lion giving triplets. That can be and is the headline news by the BBC. Talking about wildlife, animals' life for the BBC comes first before human rights. That is shame on the BBC. As we Ugandans, we are going to camp here until the BBC come out in the open and condemn their own man, Museveni, the brutal dictator, whom they facilitated to come to power in Uganda.
Yes.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
You might be wondering why Ugandans keep coming outside the BBC. The BBC, they played a very structured implementation of bringing the brutal dictator Museveni to Uganda.
Yes.
They are the lifeline of the brutal dictator.
Yes.
They are the life support machine of the brutal dictator.
Yes.
They facilitated the brutal dictator to come to power in Uganda. The structural reinforcement of the BBC in Uganda has made sure that the longest brutal dictator, the King of Uganda, has ruled Uganda for 41 years.
Yes.
You have sanitized and mocked these crimes against humanity.
Yes.
You've supported Museveni throughout the 41 years. The BBC has never condemned the torturing, the raping of Ugandans.
Yes.
You have recruited the local journalists who are related to the first family, the Byorohangas. These are cousins to the brutal dictator.
Yes.
And that's the appointment which was made by the BBC just because they wanted to buy loyalties from the brutal dictator. Catherine Byorohanga.
Yes.
She's related to the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. Alan Kasuja, who was your man in Nairobi, who never reported about Uganda, is now working for the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. The junta.
Yes.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
As we've just started, I'll pass on this mic to one of my colleagues.
Yes.
But today, we are here to expose the double standard of the BBC.
Yes.
They can call Putin a dictator.
Yes.
But they cannot call Museveni a dictator.
Yes.
They can call Maduro a Venezuelan dictator who was in power for 13 years.
Yes.
But they cannot call Museveni a brutal dictator of 41 years a dictator. That is a double standard of the BBC. Shame on the BBC.
Yes.
Shame on the BBC.
The BBC.
Shame on Mr. Sharma.
Shame on Mr. Sharma.
Mr. Sharma, we know very well that you've sat on the news about Uganda.
Yes.
The director of the BBC, Mr. Davis.
Yes.
We know you are leaving very soon.
Yes.
But would like you to talk about Uganda.
Yes.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, BBC. We are Ugandans here to demonstrate to you about the bad news. You don't report anything bad about Uganda. The only time you are seen reporting in Uganda when the animals in the national park have given birth to a puppy, a young, a cub. You care about animals than the rights of people. We care about animals, but human rights come before animal rights. When Museveni is degrading the environment in Uganda, BBC is quiet. Museveni, the junta of Uganda, has been in power for 41 years. BBC is gagged. They are quiet about what's going on in Uganda. The junta ruling Uganda was fighting the regime in Uganda for 5 years. You covered him on BBC Africa. You covered him on Focus on Africa. Daily, you had a reporter embedded with this Museveni, the junta, William Pike. You reported daily about Uganda and the bad regime, the abductions and the rape. Fast forward, for 40 years, he has done 100 times worse.
Don't worry.
BBC, you've never come out to report the rape, the sodomizing, the abductions, the murder. You've gone quiet. Why? Because you are in bed with the dictator of Uganda. We are not asking for money. We are asking for your silence. Your silence conditions the dictator to kill us in darkness. And this is, you've done it so perfectly. The dictator has made corruption his currency. You've normalized corruption. When the dictator went out to buy a 50 million jet Gulfstream, you kept quiet. That was British aid money he used to buy the plane, a private jet to fly him globally. When it happens to Maduro, you are the first to report this. Who is worse? Putin has been in power for only 26 years. Every day, his headline news. Museveni, the junta of Uganda, has been in power for 40 years. You've never reported about him. BBC, I'm not asking for fairness. You rather keep quiet forever and don't come back to Uganda. All say something. We are not going to take this lying. The people from BBC, every reporter from BBC is a rich man in Uganda. Take William Pike. Once he left Uganda, he has the best tour companies in the East African region. He has tour companies in Nairobi. He has tour companies. That's a former reporter of BBC. Google him and you see what William Pike. He's a rich man. He's never reported about Uganda. But for 5 years, he was reporting about the unfairness, the abductions. Fast forward again. BBC, when you think it's unfair and when will you be coming out? Every day you used to bring this fake John Sentamu on TV here and he would talk about Zimbabwe. What's wrong calling Sentamu to talk about Uganda? Because you and the fake Bishop Sentamu are in bed. Every day we saw Lord Sentamu, the fake bishop, the fake Lord, talking about Zimbabwe. You may not be surprised. Sentamu is Ugandan, not Zimbabwean. But you kept reporting about Zimbabwe. BBC, do we get it here? Do we understand it? How can somebody from Uganda talk about Zimbabwe, Mugabe being bad, and you don't bring him back to talk about Uganda? That shows a lot of bad things about BBC. How come you select Sentamu, the fake bishop, who has been dethroned of bishop, a fake lord, to talk about BBC every day? He cut his collar on TV here, but you've never brought him back to cut his collar on TV about Uganda. This is very unfair. BBC, your silence is a harm. It's conditioning the dictator. It's facilitating. It's enabling the dictator. You have blood on your hands, BBC. Now, you've normalized this killing. Because you don't report on them, you've normalized this killing. I know, BBC, you are interlinked with CBS and Fox News. Once you report this, it will go global. We've improvised. Now we have citizen journalism that covers us. It's not enough. BBC, you saw what happened a week ago in the European Parliament. Yes. The European Parliament came out to vote against the terror in Uganda. You never reported an iota of that.
No.
But wait, when Museveni, the junta of Uganda, comes to UK, you will put a red carpet, the cameras will come out rolling. This is the unfairness. You don't know there was a vote of 514 members who voted against the junta in Uganda. NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
Thank you for listening.
Silence of the BBC is a crime to Ugandans. We want the BBC to come out and condemn the brutal dictator of Uganda, Museveni. I repeat again, the BBC, you have forced Museveni on us because Museveni is playing your games. Museveni represents your interests in Uganda. We ask ourselves, what are those interests for the BBC in Uganda? This is a question for the BBC to tell us. If you are not reporting about the raping of women in Uganda, if you are not reporting about corruption in Uganda, if you are not talking about the lack of democracy in Uganda, what is your basis of being in Uganda? What will be the reason for you to be in Uganda? What will be your interest if you are silent on Uganda? Darkness is a dictator's friend. When you don't talk about injustice in Uganda, that means that you have given a green light to the brutal dictator Museveni to carry on torturing, raping, kidnapping, abduction, non-stop in Uganda. We are fighting on the road for years and years. The BBC is playing selective journalism because they don't get nothing from Uganda. I want to ask you, how much you want Ugandans to pay you to speak about Uganda? How many millions of oil, whether petrol you call it, from Uganda you want Ugandans to pay you to report about the lack of democracy in Uganda? The BBC you have facilitated again, I repeat, Museveni would not have been in power if it was not the BBC.
Yes.
The BBC played a vital role in bringing Museveni, the brutal youth of Uganda, to power in Uganda.
Yes.
We've had massacres in Uganda.
Yes.
We had a notorious massacre in the northern Uganda. The BBC played a small documentary about the war in the north. Just it takes about 10 minutes, and that was the end of it. Today, the BBC talk about M23 in Congo, that they are Congolese. M23 is being supported, financed, armed by Museveni of Uganda. And this is through the government of the UK. Because the UK has never condemned the M23 in Congo. Eastern Congo is on fire because of its mineral resources. And the BBC is quiet. Ugandans are being tortured, murdered, raped. The BBC is quiet because our minerals are so vital that if they talk about Uganda, they'll be losing out on that big cake of our minerals in Uganda. We ask ourselves, Maduro was a dictator. I support him. He was in power for 13 years. Museveni has been in power for 41 years. He's not a dictator. That is the double standard of the BBC. Hypocrisy at the highest level. People power. Our power. NUP. Everywhere. We are talking about the complete structural reinforcement. I repeat those two words. That means the BBC facilitates, enables, finance, promotes the brutal dictator's image around the world. While this man is a notorious brutal dictator, worse than Putin of Russia. But the BBC has never condemned the brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. CNN is in Uganda. Sky News is in Uganda. ITV was in Uganda this week. But we can't see the visibility of BBC in Uganda is non-existent. We know Mr. Sharma, one of the directors, he has given strong conditions to the so-called journalists in Uganda not to report any negative news from Uganda. And that's the shame on him. That's why we are here and will be here to expose the double standard of the BBC. We'll expose the double standard of the local journalists who work for the BBC, who have been compromised by the brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. Thank you. Where are you? BBC, where? We have recorded a special song for the BBC. We are asking, where is the BBC on Uganda? DJ, play our song, special, directed to the management of the BBC. Mr. David or Davis, you are sleeping on duty. Mr. Director, you are sleeping on duty with your staff by these brutal dictators around the world. You condemn one in Zimbabwe, but you don't condemn Museveni of Uganda. Where is the BBC? A special order for the BBC. Enjoy it.
We miss you, Mandela. Become misleaders and mentors become tormentors. When freedom of expression becomes a target of suppression, opposition becomes our position.
We are not here and we are happy, but we have to keep on mourning. We have to keep on pushing. It's not like we come here to play the music These music has got a message, like a beautiful and a very powerful music message to our music. Thank you. I come to talk about Zimbabwe, what more does he know about Zimbabwe than Uganda, his home country? Shame on the BBC. You play selective journalism. I can see one of the well-known journalists there, passing me down the road. I'm sitting for a long time. I don't know which country possible. I love it when I'm sitting on TV. Shame on the women who work for the BBC that you're not talking about the raping of women in Uganda. Warrior women. Women should be defending your fellow women in Uganda. All these women have been raped in Uganda. And we can't see female journalists from the BBC reporting about the raping of women in Uganda and sodomizing of men in Uganda. We want accountability. Where is the BBC in Uganda? Uganda existed. But we can see the BBC in Afghanistan. They report in Pashtuni. We can see the BBC in West Africa. They report in Wolof. But for Uganda, for Nanda, the UK, the BBC cannot even report. Even in the local planet Swahili, the BBC is busy. Every state, in every corner of Uganda. Shame on the BBC. The BBC, all the pass-by, the people passing around me here, the staff of the BBC, listen to this.
Yes.
This was breaking news by the BBC yesterday
Yes.
about Uganda.
Yes.
What was it about? Two girls kissing one another. That was the breaking news by the BBC yesterday.
Imagine.
You to go to the BBC website. That was the breaking news about Uganda. Shame on you.
Shame on
You never know that even in us here, we've got mixed LGBT community.
you. Yes.
You tell us about two girls kissing one another. That is the breaking news about Uganda.
Imagine.
That was yesterday.
Yes.
That is what the BBC can report about Uganda.
Imagine.
Programs in the
Thank you,
local
Chief.
knowledge.
It's right. Salaam
We've got Swahili, which covers Eastern, Central Africa and Southern Africa.
Yes.
The BBC in the local language, they will never, ever talk or speak about Uganda. Shame on the BBC.
Shame on the
Shame
BBC.
on the director of the BBC, Mr. Davis.
Shame on the
Shame
BBC.
on Sama. These are the people who have sat on the news about Uganda.
Shame on you.
No wonder why Dex is leaving. Do you know why the director of the BBC is leaving?
No.
Because of fake news.
Yes.
They reported fake news about the President of America, Trump.
Imagine.
They had to put words in his mouth. And the outcome, David had to throw in the towel. Because they are not fit for purpose. These are people who report what is their interest. That is what is reported on the mainstream media regarding Uganda and some other countries around the world. Whatever is in their interest, they'll put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like what happened to the BBC Panorama program airing Trump during the rioting in America. What is the repercussion of that? The BBC stands to pay over $2 billion in legal and compensation settlement. That is your man and my money.
Yes.
I pay for the TV license in my house.
Yes.
And all of us here, we pay the TV license.
Yes.
But we will not expect that training journalists by the BBC, they can report breaking news about Trump. What of Uganda? No wonder why the BBC is quiet about Uganda. That is the reason they play selective journalism. When it comes to Uganda, you don't report anything about Uganda. Our brothers and sisters are busy exploiting the minerals in Uganda. When you talk about it, you'll be exposing our business contacts in Uganda. Shame on the BBC.
Shame on you.
I'm calling on those journalists, the female journalists who work for the BBC, and you are not reporting about the raping, the sodomizing of Ugandans. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
The BBC is the eye, is the voice for the voiceless around the world, including Uganda. You can talk about Pakistan and Afghanistan fighting. These are brothers. But you cannot talk about the injustice, the human rights abuses, the lack of democracy. We are the Ugandans. This year, January the 15th, the brutal dictator held sham elections in Uganda. And Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Bobi Wine, he came out as the winner. But the brutal dictator robbed the Ugandans of their victory. The international community has condemned the action by this brutal dictator. CNN has condemned it. Sky News, they've condemned it. ITV, they've condemned it. Al Jazeera, they are still on the ground. The BBC is nowhere to be seen. I repeat, the breaking news about Uganda was yesterday when they reported two girls kissing one another.
Look at that.
That is the breaking news by the BBC. They cannot talk about corruption in Uganda. They cannot talk about injustice in Uganda. They cannot talk about human rights in Uganda being abused. They cannot talk about 41-year junta in power. Museveni. You talk about democracy around the world. 41 years does not represent democracy. 41 years of the junta in power does not represent human rights. The women you see this, the women you see standing behind me, they've gone through torture.
Yes.
And one of that torture, most of them have been raped.
Yes.
But the BBC is quiet.
Yes.
We are the victims of the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda.
Yes.
Would not be here if it wasn't the BBC to bring the brutal dictator Museveni to Uganda.
Yes.
The BBC played a vital role, a structure reinforcement of what is happening in Uganda. They facilitated, enabled, supported this brutal dictator to hide his crimes against humanity.
Yes.
People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. Thank you. Hello, Ugandans. Twera Padano. Twera Wa. Twera Padano. Twera Wa. Twera Wa. NUP. Everywhere.
this clear. We are not enemies to BBC, but they seem to have built up a culture that reinforces their way they see things in Uganda. Uganda to BBC is in a blind spot. They have never known Uganda to exist. Since the junta Museveni in Uganda started ruling Uganda, because he's not a leader for 40 years. On the 15th January, he was selected again for the 7th time. That wasn't news on BBC. That's how selective BBC is. BBC, you never report any scandals. There was a £500 million grant for the northern area in Uganda. All that money went to the Lords in the Lord's house here, swindled by Lord Puppet, Lord Sentamu, and so on. BBC never reported that scandal. They kept quiet about it. They never reported this. But fast forward, when in the national park in western Uganda, a neighbor has 2 babies, that's first-class news, and will be on the main menu of the news, and pictures will be big on your big screen. BBC, your silence has made the torture even worse. With all the feel the pain of rape, abductions, murder, but keeping quiet, you are conditioning this murder, rape. BBC, to fast forward, you reported about Uganda every other week until the junta came in power. Since then, you've never reported about Uganda, with the exception of when he visits Prime Minister Stama, when he goes away and about. Recently, he's had a fake selection. BBC never came out. CNN was on the ground. They reported what was happening. CNN was on the ground, and other big international channels. BBC, you never linked up with Sky News. When the junta was killing Ugandans 10 days ago, abducting, CNN reported that. BBC was quiet. This was very clear. Daylight abductions and shootings and murder. When the fake elections, which happened on the 15th, took place, you kept quiet. You've conditioned this corruption. All the ministers are in bed with BBC. You've normalized corruption. Worse still, you've normalized murder. They have murdered us for the last 41 years. BBC has never come out to report about the murders. But when they report about the regime, how they're doing fine, and so on. Now, there's a BBC Swahili channel. It's supposed to be reporting in Swahili, and the target audience should be East Africa, to include Uganda. It's a shame on the BBC channel, Swahili. They never report about the atrocities. Even the atrocities that happened in Tanzania, they were not broadcast in Swahili. Shame on BBC. We can't believe. Shame on BBC. Repeat after me. Shame on the BBC. Why do we have to pay all this taxpayers' money and you don't expose the murders, the corruption, the abductions, the bad things that we are going through? Most of the Ugandans here, you see, are not unemployed. We are full employed, professional, unprofessional, semi-professional. We earn a living and we are good citizens. But we are worried that BBC has kept the man, the junta of Uganda, Museveni, in power, and you are enabling him and facilitating his long stay. This man has imported his culture. Now he has graduates who have graduated from the same school of thought. Ruto in Kenya is killing just like him. He does paste and copy. Same things. The woman in Tanzania, that Sululu, she's doing a copy and paste because she's a graduate from the school of Museveni, the junta of Uganda. Leave alone that, the man of South Sudan who can barely walk and his limbs are tired, he's copied and pasted the same things. Burundi, they have copied Museveni, same infrastructure for murder, abduction, killings, and slaying all the political prisoners. Nothing has been said. When it comes to Rwanda, the mute button comes in. You never cover anything about Rwanda. And yet, BBC, you are everywhere reporting about apes in Rwanda. Why don't you cover that country? Why don't you cover all the region? In Somalia, the junta is there. To summarize this for you, the junta of Uganda has copied and pasted same skills of murder. We never know that sound in Uganda. There is no emergency service. There is no working institutions. There is no public service.
No.
The ambulance, you can't believe. If I get wounded on the street, they carry me on a stretcher and put me under a mango tree and probably bring ashes to treat my wound. That's Uganda. We don't have medical service. This is a country where even a surgical glove you think is an offer. It's a great opportunity. That's how much Uganda has got. Uganda has all broken down institutions. The rule of law is not there. It's the rule of the junta. We've never had any rule of law. When we hear sirens in Uganda, it's not the sirens. It is Museveni paving way. He is trying to travel from east to west or north. That's when we hear the sirens. Sirens in Uganda don't mean emergency service. They mean Museveni is coming. If there are less sirens, then those are his deputies. With every minister, Museveni, the junta, and all his they come from medical tourism here. Their children have education tourism. Yet the most people in Uganda barely have an aspirin. This is a man, 6 years ago, he went out to buy 2 MiG-old planes from Ukraine. They cost Uganda $600 million. And BBC kept quiet. They don't report this. They didn't report. The junta bought 2 old-fashioned MiG planes. They have never fought a war. They are just there for exhibition. To do a fly past when the junta is sitting down on his coronation. And the next time you see them, the 2 MiGs will be when he's being ordained, the third in May. You will never report all this corruption. Uganda had very good localized banks, like Uganda's commercial bank. Uganda is the only country in the region that doesn't have a national bank. Have you ever seen that in any country? Every country has a national bank, which the local and the disadvantaged can bank their money. Fast forward, when Museveni came, he took away the Uganda commercial bank. And guess, he replaced it with the South African bank, Stanbic. And everything went into his pocket with his family. He is the ruler of Uganda. His wife is the deputy to the president, the junta, and the wife, uneducated as she is. She's the Minister of Education. She's never finished primary 3. She can easily stammer through English or write a sentence. And that's the minister we have of education. She can barely spell her names, neither write on a paper. She has to be escorted by servants. This is a woman they call the Minister of Education and Sports. She can barely run a meter. I don't know if you understand, but nobody has ever reported this. And then fast forward, the son is the army commander.
In 1993, that son came to Nottingham University. He stayed 4 weeks, and the university said this: sorry, you are not fit to be in this university. Try elsewhere. And he left. 3 weeks later, he had quit Nottingham University. I'm not talking through newspaper. I was in Loughborough University. I saw him. I saw him being taught to go. That's 1993. That's the son of the junta. He can barely express himself. What I'm doing here, the command of Uganda forces, whatever the son of the junta, can barely speak good English or express himself. We don't mind. He can't explain himself even in the vernacular. So this is the junta's son. Now come the central bank. There is his brother. Ah, God, it's a mess down there. The brother is the governor of central bank and is in charge of poverty and education. Poverty, when the whole family is a monarchy in Uganda. BBC, you've never reported all this. You keep quiet and keep silent about this. The brother barely finished the primary school, and then you reward him by giving all this equipment, ammo, boots, and training. These are people who are not even fit to be local bank security. So, BBC, don't keep quiet. We will come back here again and again and again. NUP, everywhere. Thank you for listening.
Listen, the BBC, listen to this, what I'm going to tell you today. The UK Prime Minister, in his motorcade, he has got, if it's a lot, it's 5 cars. In Uganda, the brutal dictator, he has got 500 armored cars. He moves with every day. In Uganda, the brutal dictator spent £2.5 million every day on his security. But ask him, who is going to kill him? This is a man who has created war around the Great Lakes. Yes. When I say the Great Lakes, I mean DRC Congo. Yes. Museveni is M23. Yes. Museveni is in Southern Sudan. Yes. Museveni is in Central Africa. Yes. Museveni is Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Yes. This is all one man. Yes. And look at the biggest lie. The biggest lie by the BBC to claim that the 1 million Rwandese who were murdered in cold blood were Tutsi. That is fake news. Fake news. The 1 million people who were murdered in Rwanda were Hutu. Yes. Kagame by then, he was serving in the arm of Uganda as a major. Yes. And Museveni invaded Rwanda. This was Museveni invading Rwanda. Kagame was a major in the Ugandan army. Yes. Now he's the president of Rwanda. Yes. How on earth the BBC give the world fake news? Yes. That the Hutu killed the Tutsi? It's the Tutsi who killed the Hutu in Rwanda. That's right. The BBC has never carried out a panorama program, at least even for 15 minutes, to go on the ground and get the facts right. What happened? When this was going on, the BBC was quiet. But when it comes to send immigrants back to Africa, the BBC is on the ground in Rwanda. Yes. Trying to convince the world that you can come from a civilized country like the UK and be deported to Rwanda, where another
dictator Kagame of Rwanda, he has been in power for 27 years. And you are sending the so-called immigrants to Rwanda. What is the root causes of these refugees coming to the UK? It's because of the UK supports dictators around the world, including Museveni, the brutal dictator of Uganda. When we talk about immigrants, the UK is the mother, is the main cause of war. Immigrants from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, all over the world come here because they've got something to claim. We claim security. We leave our countries because we are the victim of the UK policy, supporting dictators around the world. And when we run to save our lives, we are called illegal immigrants. But in Uganda, we've got over 3 million Indians. We've never called them immigrants. We've got over 500,000 UK citizens living in Kenya. We don't call them immigrants. Because we want to enjoy the same democracy we enjoy today here. That's the same rights we want to live in Africa, including Uganda. The brutal dictators have told you 500 armored patrol cars every day in his convoy, while a country like Uganda does not have even 20 working ambulances. St. Thomas Hospital down the road, or Poplar Hospital down the corner, they've got more ambulances than the whole country, Uganda. That is where the £1 billion is sent every year by the UK government. That £1 billion should be helping our pensioners to have winter fuel money. That £1 billion should be helping the homeless in London and all the cities around the UK. That £1 billion should be helping our veterans who fought for democracy and the rights we enjoy today. And that money is being sent to the richest bastard, Museveni of Uganda, who is 15 billion rich. Shame on the BBC. The BBC has never carried out an investigation, a panorama program where the brutal dictator got his riches from. Museveni is the second richest man in Africa. The businessman by the name of Dangote, a Nigerian businessman who made his money in the lawful channel. Museveni is the second richest man in Africa. This is your money. This is taxpayers' money being sent to Uganda with no accountability. People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. When we stand here, this is the reason why the BBC is not covering news about Uganda. Because the government will feel ashamed. We understand the corporation is part of the establishment. They have to say what 10 Downing Street say. They have to be in line with what the Prime Minister is talking about. The BBC, you have connived with the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda in silencing the voice of change, democracy, respect of human rights, while here we enjoy the freedom of speech. If not, we'll not be here standing. The women you see me behind me, I repeat, they've gone through torture, and the men, I repeat, we are not going to be ashamed to say the truth.
Yes.
We are the victim of the brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda.
wouldn't be here today if Museveni wasn't in power in Uganda today. Financed, facilitated, enabled by the BBC. The BBC is the structural pillar of this dictatorship in Uganda. It's Uganda whereby Ugandans cannot afford the £1 paracetamol, but the brutal dictator, he has got a motorcade of 500 armored cars, and every day he spends £2.5 million. Shame on the BBC for not reporting. This should be the headline news. This should be the breaking news about Uganda. You have investigative journalists. They should be going to Uganda. I can see that girl going through. She worked for the BBC and I've seen her. But she has never reported about women in Uganda being raped. As a woman, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Shame on you.
You should be reporting about Ugandan women who are being raped on a daily basis. And you know that people power, our power, MUP, everywhere. Thank you. No, pardon. Where is the BBC? Where are those posh journalists from the BBC? We don't see them in Uganda. They've decided to go silent. Most of them, they've connived with the brutal dictator. This song was recorded special for the BBC. Ugandans are asking, where is the voice of the BBC? Silence on Uganda is a crime. Where is the BBC? Where is the voice of the voiceless? Shame on the BBC.
Shame on the BBC.
Report on the top charges on Uganda.
Report on corruption in Uganda. Land grabbing. Human rights abuse.
Drum elections.
Democracy in Uganda. Vote rigging. Where is the BBC? Where are those handsome journalists for the BBC? Where are they? I want to see those handsome journalists in Uganda. We have beautiful women in Uganda, and I bet you, when you go to Uganda,
Uganda. Forget about your wife at home. So please, Girls, report on Uganda. Women in Uganda have been raped, please. Take time out and peace Uganda, people power. Uganda.
There's a big scene nowadays. Reports on abduction.
No show for the BBC.
Reports on a sham.
Happiness for the BBC is the happiness for the dictator.
Reports on a dictator.
The journalists report on the Uganda, please. Report on the injustice in Uganda. Report on the corruption in Uganda. Report on the raping and sodomizing of Ugandans. Lack of democracy in Uganda. The BBC, you brought Museveni to Uganda. And we ask you kindly take him away from us. Museveni can't be the future of Uganda. Museveni is leading Uganda to the graveyard. The BBC, where are you? Where are those journalists by the BBC? Please, girls, female journalists, report about the raping of women in Uganda, please. Kindly. The girls standing behind me, most of them have been raped. This is real. It's real. They're the victim of the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. People power. Our power. Museveni must go. Museveni must go. The brutal dictator must go. Museveni must go. Museveni must go. The BBC mutushikie kakasajja ka Museveni. Kalina ogenda. Kali mu overtime akasajja ako ka Museveni. Yeah. Where is the BBC? BBC, come out. Speak about Uganda. Speak up. Even in your policy for your staff. If your staff are being moved, you've got a policy of speak up. You always advise your staff to speak up. You need to speak up about Uganda. You can't be playing selective journalism on Uganda. The BBC and the main structural reinforcement of the brutal regime in Uganda. Speak up. The BBC, speak up. It's your responsibility. You brought this brutal dictator on Uganda. For the last 41 years, Ugandans have been tortured, been brutalized, been kidnapped, been sodomized, been murdered, and the BBC is quiet. Speak up, the BBC. You brought Museveni to Uganda. Museveni now is in DRC Congo. Museveni is in Somalia with Al-Shabaab. Museveni is in Southern Sudan. Museveni is in Burundi as in Torahamwe. Same man, different name. Camouflaging. But this is a warlord brought on us by the BBC. Shame on the BBC. We'll never stop condemning the BBC. The BBC have got a big hand in Uganda in making sure that democracy comes to Uganda. We cannot stand and look aside while the BBC is conniving with the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. No way. We'll be here as long as it takes us for the BBC to come out and condemn abuses in Uganda and the lack of democracy. You can't play double standard. Putin of Russia is a dictator. Museveni of Uganda is not. Maduro was in power for 13 years. He was a brutal dictator by the BBC. But Museveni is a darling for the BBC. They dine together, they eat together, they drink together, they sleep together. That is the BBC with the Museveni, the youth of Uganda. People power. Our power. Yeah. Where is the voice of the voiceless? The BBC, come out! Ugandans are suffering because of the silence of the BBC. The BBC in 1982 they designated a special journalist by the name of William Pike. He embedded with Museveni for 4 years and a half in the bush in Luwero. The work for the BBC was to sanitize the crime of Museveni time when he was in the bush. And the BBC stand responsible for the raping, the kidnapping, the sodomizing, the corruption, the lack of human rights in Uganda and democracy. The BBC, you stand responsible. Where is William Pike? The journalist for the BBC is one of the richest businessmen in Uganda and Kenya. In return, he was given a big handout by the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda for sanitizing his crimes against humanity. Shame on the BBC. Shame on the BBC. We are here to condemn the silence by the BBC. Yeah. By the Uganda army and the police, not as like today. Yeah. Where are you? We know you are handing over the gloves very soon. And no wonder you are going. You've been sleeping on duty, Tim Davis. Sleeping on duty is a misplaced conduct. And you'll be sacked. No wonder why you are going. You have never supported and reported the injustice in Uganda committed by the brutal dictator Museveni, the youth of Uganda. People power away. Freedom is coming to Uganda very soon. We have not lost hope. We are just calling on those handsome men who work for the BBC to be reporting about the injustice in Uganda. Women and men are being murdered, sodomized, raped. We are the victim of the brutal dictator in Uganda. These women you see have been raped by the army. These are militias who are trained in Sandhurst, one of the best military academies in the world. We don't want to believe that they are trained to torture, but it's the culture in Uganda under this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. People power, our power, NAP. Enjoy a nice sandwich, my mate. Yeah, I'll have mine later. Yeah. Freedom is coming to Uganda. We are asking the BBC not to play selective journalism. We know very well when we talk about the BBC, we talk about William Pike, that journalist who was in the bush with the brutal dictator for 4 years and a half. And today, Ugandans are being murdered. And William Pike now is one of the richest men in Uganda and Kenya. Came on our BBC. We pay our TV licenses. £1 million goes to Uganda. I repeat, that money should stay in the UK to help our pensioners, to help our veterans, to help the homeless in London and the cities around the UK than being sent to Uganda. Uganda is a failed state under this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. The Black Widow. You've never heard the BBC. You know very well about the Black Widow. This is it. Mariam Blacksoe, the so-called ambassador to Europe and the Scandinavian countries. This lady, she used to work for the United Nations for Refugees in Nairobi in 1982. She helped Museveni with the BBC to put us where we are. She is the fixer. She is the main chemical which sanitizes crimes in Uganda against humanity. Maria Blacksoe, the Black Widow, the BBC, we want you to carry out an investigation for a panorama program about Maria Blacksoe, the so-called Black Widow, the woman who is the fixer. All the massacres in Uganda, in northern Uganda, it was sometimes brought by these women. The Kasese massacre, where over 250 Ugandans were murdered, were more than sometimes by the same lady. We are talking about 4 massacres in Uganda, being committed by the brutal dictator and hidden away by Maria Blacksoe, the Black Widow, who represents Uganda in Europe and the Scandinavian country as the ambassador to the brutal dictator. People power. We have evidence. BBC, come to us. We'll give you the evidence to start on when you're investigating human rights abuses and the lack of democracy in Uganda. The UK sends £1 million, but still Ugandans cannot afford even a £1 paracetamol under this brutal regime. Ugandans
cannot even afford surgical gloves. When you go to any hospital in Uganda, they'll tell you to buy surgical gloves and a notebook for the doctor to carry out his consultation. But £1 billion goes to Uganda with no accountability. This is the young man and the downs of the BBC. This is our money. This is taxpayers' money being wasted in Uganda under this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. 41 years in power does not represent democracy anywhere in the world. Women in Uganda are being raped. These are the victims of that brutal dictator. We want female journalists by the BBC to talk about, to speak up. Speak about the justice in Uganda. Speak about the human rights in Uganda. Speak about the lack of democracy in our Uganda. Our homeland Uganda is bleeding. Uganda is bleeding under this brutal dictator. Uganda is bleeding under this junta. Uganda is bleeding under this war. People power. Our power. We will never stop until the BBC come out and speak about Uganda. We will never stop. I repeat, we will never stop coming here until the BBC come out and speak about the injustice, the human rights, the lack of democracy in Uganda. Thank you. Ugandan community, Bobi Wine is our elected president. Bobi Wine is our president. Who is Bobi Wine? Bobi Wine is our elected president. NUP, everywhere. We love Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine is our elected president. And Museveni is not our president. Museveni must go. Museveni must go. NUP, everywhere, everywhere. Museveni must go. NUP, Otoa Padel, Twerwa, Twerwa,
Everywhere. NUP. NUP.
Thank you.
Fulawa nesasira nesonyiwa. Hati naye nsijamu eddoboozi ya bwe tuba tukuba akayimba eddoboozi mba ndiggyamu ya.
Yeah, I think you've enjoyed the tunes. These are revolutionary songs. They are not songs that we are here to enjoy, but we are here to push on with our word. Why the silence by the BBC? The BBC, you have to speak up about Uganda, the injustice, lack of democracy, human rights abuse, the raping, using rape as a punishment. These women you see behind me, they've gone through rape just for wearing a red beret. You might be wondering why we are wearing red. Red in Uganda means change. If you're a woman and the thugs, the military brutal forces come across you wearing a red beret or anything red, if you're a woman, the punishment will be tortured and raped. If you're a man, you'll be sodomized. I repeat, these two punishments are being used as torture in Uganda under this brutal dictator, Museveni of Uganda. We'll still call on the BBC that silence on Uganda means death for Ugandans. The lack of visibility by the BBC in Uganda, that is a death sentence to Ugandans. The selective journalism about Uganda is a crime against humanity. We stand to have the fairness, the same, the way how you report about Ukraine, Russia, the brutal dictator Putin of Russia is one of the worst dictators around the world, and he has been in power for 28 years now. Uganda, the same. We have the longest brutal dictator in the world. 41 years of dictatorship, of kidnapping, raping, sodomizing, the abduction of Ugandans, lack of no political space in Uganda under this brutal dictator, and the BBC is quiet. We repeat our words. The BBC is the structure reinforcement of the brutal dictator in Uganda. The BBC in 1982, when this brutal warlord went to the bush in Royal Triangle, the BBC assigned a special journalist by the name of William Pike, one of the richest
journalists right now in Uganda and Kenya. My question I'll ask, how much does a journalist paid who work for the BBC? If you are paid a lot, might be 60 to 80,000. But William Pike is the richest man in Kenya and Uganda. We understand where he got his money from. He was given as a gift by the brutal junta Museveni to silence, to sanitize, to mob all the crimes committed by the junta Museveni of Uganda. The BBC assigned again William Pike to go to the bush in Well Triangle to report the fake news about Obote by then, who was the president of Uganda. Museveni has been playing this game for such a very long time. Daylight, he'll come as a civilian. In the night, he'll wear military camouflage, come on the village, kill the whole village in the name of government soldiers. While it's Museveni playing his dirty games, you'll understand from me that M23 is Museveni in DRC Congo. The BBC, you know this very well. But you try to portray that M23, they are Congolese. You take Al-Shabaab in Somalia. This is a branch of Museveni. Museveni gets £8 billion from the US to run and fight that war in Somalia. Museveni is in Southern Sudan. Most of the oil wells in Southern Sudan, 75% belong to Museveni. That is the dictator we are talking about. The same dictator owns 500 armored cars, while Ugandans cannot access a working ambulance. That is Uganda under Museveni. Ugandans cannot afford a £1 paracetamol. Ugandans cannot afford even a surgical glove. But Museveni, the junta of Uganda, is the richest bastard in the world with £15 billion. All that money comes from the UK. That is taxpayers' money. The UK sends £1 million every year to Uganda with no accountability. £1 billion goes to Uganda with no accountability. That money should be staying in the UK to help our pensioners for the winter fuel. That £1 billion should be rehousing our brothers and sisters who are sleeping in the streets of London and other cities.
Yes.
That £1 million should be helping our veterans who fought for the democracy and the freedom we enjoy right now here.
Yes.
If we had been in Uganda, we'll never dare come out and stand and speak up about the BBC. As we stand here today, we want to echo our concern about the silence by the BBC regarding Uganda. We'll never stop coming here until Uganda comes on mainstream media. Not because we are having BAFTAs in Uganda, no. Because of the raping, because of the kidnapping, because of the torture, because of the sodomizing of Ugandans. The breaking news by the BBC, I want you to prove me wrong. Yesterday, they talked about Uganda was two girls kissing one another.
Hallelujah.
Is that breaking news today?
No.
I want to know, is that breaking news that BBC should be reporting about Uganda?
No.
That two women kissed one another?
Yes.
That is completely ridiculous by the BBC.
Yes.
You cannot be reporting petty crimes while Ugandans have been silenced, while Ugandans are being tortured,
while Ugandans are being raped, while women in Uganda have got no space. The women you see behind me, they've been raped. Men you see behind me have been sodomized under this brutal regime. People power. Our power. Imagine you sending 1 billion to Uganda, but the same brutal dictator is 15 million rich. Get your mathematics right here. That money should not be going to Uganda. The brutal dictator has got 500 armored cars. He spends 2.5 million pounds every day. He has got 80 gardeners who clean the state house. He has got 45 chefs who work in the state house. This is the brutal dictator of Uganda. The son is the commander of the Uganda forces. The brother is the commissioner of prisons. Salim Saleh is the minister of finance, is a brother to the dictator. The wife, she is the minister of education. We are talking about Uganda, a failed state under this brutal junta, and the BBC is silent about these crimes. The BBC cannot report about corruption in Uganda, the simplest thing they can report on. They've connived with the brutal dictator. We understand that the BBC brought Museveni to Uganda, and we as Ugandans, we are asking the BBC to expose the crimes against humanity by the BBC. People power. Our power. NUP. Everywhere. Thank you.
Hello, Ugandans. What my colleague just didn't say, the junta of Uganda, Museveni, when he's traveling, he travels with a motorcade of near 100 cars. Imagine the donor country, which is UK, the Prime Minister travels with less than 5 cars. Now, BBC, why don't you report? That could be breaking news. This is a person, a ruler, the junta of Uganda, who travels with a battalion of soldiers. All your money goes in making his life safe. So that's the junta, and we expect BBC to report that as a corruption. But BBC has normalized corruption. They can't see this. Every day he travels with a fleet of 100 cars, over 200 soldiers. That's to count the mobile ones, not the static ones. And BBC has normalized not only corruption, but the murder, the abductions, the killings, the rape, the torturous cells he has. Putin has been in power since 2000 at the turn of the century. For 26 years, every other day I see reports about Putin. The junta of Uganda has been for 41 years and nobody has reported about him. The war in Ukraine started on May 24th, 4 years ago. It's every day on the screen and the pictures. Uganda, for 40 years, you've never reported anything. The time the junta got in power, that was it. Before then, BBC was every day reporting as there is no rule of law. Once the junta got in power, Museveni, you stopped reporting about the rule of law or democracy. You turned to animal rights and moved away from human rights. You always report about national parks, game parks, antelopes, elephants, apes, and whatever. Now, if you really fair reporting, what comes first, animal rights or human rights? BBC, you've covered a lot of corruption scandals. I've never seen BBC report any scandal, corruption scandal, yet the junta in Uganda having 13 million or 15 million pounds in billions on his account. BBC doesn't report that. Is Uganda in your blind spot? Can't you see us? Maduro was in power for 13 years. You reported about him every day. Gaddafi was in power for 42 years. You talked and relayed photographs. But the junta has been the same period in power. You don't report about the junta who has killed us. Okay, he's killed us, maimed, abducted. How about the public institutions? Uganda hospitals have been reduced to cages. There is no medication. There is no institution. The legislature, the parliament is a joke. After North Korea, Uganda has the biggest parliament, 557 members of parliament. You still donate money to support the parliament in Uganda, which is 557. The MPs in Uganda get more paid than any European MP. You are quiet on this. I repeat, the MPs in Uganda are paid better than the MPs in Europe and UK. You never cover all this corruption. There was and are still a lot of scandals, schemes of corruption. BBC has never come out to report any corruption scandal. This country, Uganda, where the junta doesn't respect any rule of law, had elections on 15 selections. You never reported about it. But when Maduro came second time, you reported about the unfairness. He's coming back the second time. Museveni, the junta of Uganda, is coming back the 7th time after the selection he carried out on 15th January. Fast forward, when the junta of Uganda came in Uganda, the Uganda had a very good railway network. Today, there is no railway network. You've never come up to say such things. When the junta came in power 41 years ago, Uganda had a fleet of airplanes, over 20, tracking the globe. Today, we have 3, and BBC wrote an article, Uganda buys a new airline. 3! The stupid man, Idi Amin, bought 20, and were in the skies for all the time Idi Amin was in power. Who is better, Museveni or Idi Amin? NUP? Everywhere? I'll tell you one other thing. If you don't know where Uganda is, it lies at the equator, and we have a very fair climate, just like it's in Amazon. Uganda doesn't need to mine oil. Today, he's trying to mine oil and pass it through one of his cadres, graduates, Tanzania. Nobody has talked about the environmental abuse. UK is quiet. Every single Greenpeace, everybody, Stop Oil has reported about the abuse of the ecosystem. BBC, you are quiet. They have produced reports, they have produced photographic evidence. BBC, you've never taken this one up. Your silence is the worst murder we have on our hands. BBC, you have blood on your hands. You've killed us for the last 41 years. That fake Bishop Sentamu, I will end with this, was always on TV here when Mugabe was in Zimbabwe. Every day he would come to the TV or you go to his house. The fake Bishop Sentamu. The Bishop